Welcome back to VinConn Sports Talk for a very special episode. It is time for our first ever VinConn Sports Talk team previews, where we will be previewing and analyzing every single team ahead of week one of the 2025 NFL season. So let's get this thing underway to talk about all of your favorite teams and how they're going to do in the upcoming season. So my name is Vinny, joined by the one and only Connor Swanson. Connor, how are we doing on this Tuesday night? Ready to talk
I'm
football?
I mean, with that intro, how can you not be feeling absolutely incredible, right? I mean, we're getting closer to the
Gotta be.
season every single time we record, and the excitement levels are through the roof, man. So I can't wait to get started here tonight.
Think we're what a week, 2 weeks and change away. I think it's 2 weeks from Thursday is the kickoff. So
Yeah.
I mean, we have to get through 32 NFL teams. We're gonna be talking about every single one. So your favorite team will be included. Don't you worry in one of these preview episodes. So today is all about the AFC East, as you could probably see from the title. So we're gonna be talking about the four teams in the AFC East, in my opinion, the best division in the NFL. Maybe not the best this year, but the most fun for sure.
What
Because my
year is
favorite
it the
team is in it.
best?
Probably never, but no years, but that's okay. So we're just gonna be going running through every single team and going over our record predictions and what they did in the offseason and kind of just some general information, talking about them, analyzing them, and we're gonna be moving pretty quick here because as I mentioned, we do have to get through every single team in the NFL. So Connor, are you ready to get started?
I'm ready, man. Let's get into it.
All right, let's get into it. So we're gonna be going in reverse order of how they finished last season in the standings. So that means we start with who else but my favorite team, Connor, the New England Patriots. Been a fan of this team since out of the womb, you could say. I'm a
Yeah.
diehard Patriots fan, so I'm glad to be starting off with them. How'd they do last year? Well, they did really bad. They finished 4-13. That is good for fourth place in the AFC East. They did miss the postseason, but the offseason was a very good one for New England. So let's go over what they did in the offseason. First of all, wide receiver has been a void in New England for a very long time, and that got fixed pretty decently this offseason with the addition of Stefan Diggs in free agency. Defensive lineman Milton Williams coming over from the Super Bowl champion Eagles is another big one. And then how about Carlton Davis? You know, lining up on the other side of Christian Gonzalez in the secondary. It's going to be pretty electric
Yeah.
duo there at cornerback, also signed in free agency. Some other less notable names, but still pretty good. We got Harold Landry coming over. Mac Hollins, another wide receiver coming over from Buffalo, the division rival. How about Josh Dobbs to be the backup quarterback there for New England? That's a pretty interesting one.
He's had
Um,
some moments, man.
he has had some moments. Definitely a lot of bad ones, but some good ones. He's a good backup though.
Yeah.
Um, Morgan Moses comes over from the Jets to bolster the offensive line a little bit. Who do we lose? Who do the Patriots lose in the offseason? Well, really, there's some notable names here. David Andrews retires, longtime New England Patriot at center. Jawan Bentley, the pretty trusty linebacker, is out the door. Joe Milton, he had that legendary performance in Week 18. He's
Yeah.
with the Cowboys now. The reason we don't have the first overall pick. And Jacoby Brissett as well is out the door. I believe he's with the Cardinals now. Jonathan Jones, longtime Patriot. Devon Godshaw out the door, and Dietrich Wise. So some guys who have been on the team for quite a while. Um, and just how's the team going to look this year? I mean, we got Mike Vrabel coming in as the head coach, year number one, former head coach of the Titans, former Patriots player. So he knows this team very well. He knows the organization well, the area, and it's just a whole different vibe in New England with Mike Vrabel at the helm. And I'm really looking forward to that. Projected starting quarterback is Drake May, the second year guy out of UNC. He had a lot of promising moments in year one, even with a horrible offense around him, a horrible offensive line, horrible playmakers. I mean, just one of the worst NFL offenses you could ever draw up. And Drake May still was a very serviceable quarterback
Yeah.
in 2024. So definitely expecting him to take a leap. And how about Will Campbell coming in from LSU, the left tackle, another guy who's going to bolster the offensive line and just the culture in that locker room. Will Campbell comes in, he says, I will die for the New England Patriots on draft night. So really, I mean, if we had the first overall pick like we should have, it could have been a little bit different. But I think Patriots fans are very happy
Yeah.
to have Will Campbell on the squad. I know I am for sure. So that's basically the overview of the Pats, Connor. And this is a very interesting team. I mean, I'll take my bias out of it here. I am very excited to watch the New England Patriots
Oh
play
yeah. You should
in
be.
2025. I think it's going to be just maybe not a successful year like we're used to in the Brady era, but this is just a different vibe. There's a lot of optimism and excitement. And it's just there's a
Yeah,
lot of
no,
changes and good ones too.
100%. I mean, this is a team that talking to anyone who follows the NFL, I mean, this is going to be a team people are excited to have a breakout type season where Drake May going into his second year, people are kind of thinking he can be one of those breakout candidate quarterbacks where, there's other guys around the league. Maybe you're talking about guys like Bryce Young, um, guys who haven't been anything like crazy in their first year. But I mean, Drake May, he was good last year. You mentioned it with a terrible team around him. And now going into another year with better weapons, better offensive line, and still a very good defense, this is going to be a football team that I think can actually battle and try and push for a playoff spot.
Yeah, I think it is not crazy to say that the Patriots can have a winning record, which is crazy to say after how bad they were the past 2, even 3 years.
Yeah.
And a large part of that is the schedule. Now, I will come out and say that the Patriots got blessed with one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. I mean, looking at the start, we have Vegas week 1, and then you have Pittsburgh, you have Carolina, New Orleans, Tennessee, Cleveland. That's all in the first 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm expecting the Patriots to get off to a really good start. You're going to face some pretty good teams later in the year, like the Ravens, like the Bills twice, the Bengals, the Buccaneers, the Falcons. Like you have all those teams down the stretch. They're going to be tough. But in general, I think the easy schedule combined with just this new look, this new energy in the locker room, I think we're looking at a very optimistic outlook for New England in 2025.
Yeah, I think Mike Vrabel is what this team needed. They just needed some juice, man. They needed some juice up above in a power position to just get these guys in check, get them wanting to play. Like Will Campbell, perfect type of guy for Mike Vrabel. Saying you would die for this Patriots team. That's the type of guys Mike Vrabel loves, right? And it's just going to be like a fun team to watch because they are going to care about it so much. Sometimes you see teams where they're very talented, but their heart's not in it every single time, right? But this is going to be a team where with Vrabel at the helm, that they're going to be wanting it. They're going to be giving 110% every single play.
Yeah, and Connor, before we talk about our record predictions, I just wanna bring it back a little bit because I remember last year we were throwing the football around in the yard before the draft and before we hired Vrabel, like before we made all these moves, and we were debating whether the Giants or Patriots would be better in 2025. And I was like, I have no doubt in my mind the Patriots are going to be better than the Giants in 2025. And now seeing and you disagreed with me. You
I no,
disagreed with me.
I thought I said Patriots too. I thought I
You
said
well, you were like,
Patriots because
I
remember we were
think you
talking to
said
Jaden and I said I had the Patriots doing better. Mhm.
I don't know. I think you said it was close. I think you said it was close.
Well, at
But
that point, I probably did say it was close. Yeah.
not to spoil our next episode, which is the NFC East, but looking at our record predictions for the Patriots and the Giants is not going to be close. I am
No.
fairly confident, unless we face some pretty bad injuries, which you
Yep.
never know. It could always happen. But anyway, Connor, we both did a little mini episode doing our entire schedule predictions, and we have
Yep.
our records game by game. And what do you think? How are the Patriots going to do in 2025?
I'm gonna give the Patriots a 9-8 record. They're just gonna miss the playoffs. They're that first team out, which is so heartbreaking for this team. I was going through and I was telling you before we came on air here. At one point early on, I had them at 7-2, and I was like, wait a
Yeah.
second, this Patriots team is 7-2 through I think it was through 10 weeks, with the bye. And I was like, I'm either doing something very wrong or this team has a legitimate shot. And I think they
Right.
do have a legitimate shot. I don't think I was doing anything wrong. The picks I was making weren't anything crazy. Like you said, schedule the first half of the season very, very favorable. So I think 9-8 is very realistic, and I would not be at all surprised if a couple things go their way, they could sneak in as that 7 team.
Yeah, and I actually had the exact same scenario that I also have them at 9-8, just missing the
Yep.
playoffs. And in my mind, well, speaking from a fan perspective here, I'm totally okay with that. I don't need to make the playoffs this year to be happy. I need competent offensive play, and I need just a better culture and a better, like, just a better vibe around the team. I want to look forward to watching them again because it has been a very long time since I've turned on the TV on Sunday and looked forward to watching the New England Patriots and actually being excited to see them play
Yeah.
football. And I think as long as they do that and they're competitive and they're winning the games they should be winning, I will be totally happy
Yeah.
with that.
I
So,
mean, I mean, this is a massive improvement for them. So I mean, you should
massive.
be at if they can get to not even if they get to 7 or 8 wins, you're still 3, 4
Exactly.
games better.
Yeah. No, that's very true. Do you have any final comments about the Patriots before we move on?
I I hope that Stephon Diggs does not turn into the drama queen we have seen him be the last couple of
Mhm.
seasons, because I think that can really hurt this team. He is so talented. He's going to be their wide receiver one. If he starts to lose it and starts going off on the quarterback, starts going off on the coaching staff, I think this 9-8 season could turn into a 7-10 season really quick. And I know it's only two
Yeah.
games, but that's all it takes.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I really hope that does not happen either. And I will say one more thing. I know that kind of important to mention. We do only have the first round draft picks here, but that's not all that's important. We did get a superstar, in my opinion,
Yep.
Travion Henderson, who I expect to take over the starting running back position pretty early
Day
with
one.
Ramondre
I think
Stevenson.
he should
I
be a
mean,
day one. We'll see, but I mean, the way he's
he
been
should
playing,
be. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, I do think is a talented player. I just think he had a horrible season. It was a bad time for him to have a bad season last
yep.
year because I think this guy coming in, I mean, he took one to the house first play of the preseason. It was so electric. Um, and then even in the third round, getting a guy like Kyle Williams coming in the door, wide receiver, already, the wide receiver room, besides Diggs, there's no one that really gets your attention.
Yep.
But there's a lot of guys who can get the job done and break out, and I'm looking forward
100%.
to seeing
Yep.
that.
Yep. For sure.
Okay, so that's the Patriots. That is one team down. We have 32 to go, or 31 to go. Sorry, now I can't do math. So why don't we jump into our next team here? Are you ready? Are you
Yeah,
excited?
man. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. So the next team is the New York Jets. Coming in last year at 5-12, third place in the AFC East with all the expectations in the world as it seems like they've had the last couple of years going into the season.
Yeah.
So who did they add in the offseason? Well, Minka Fitz or sorry, not Minka Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick, I'm on the wrong slide. Justin Fields. They're very different than Minka Fitzpatrick.
Very, very
Um,
different. Very different positions,
very
different side
different
of the
player.
ball.
We're gonna get to Minka Fitzpatrick in a second. Um, Justin Fields comes in free agency to be the starting quarterback. So it's very interesting. I mean, it was kind of head scratching when I saw that move. But it could be pretty interesting to see how that goes. I don't even have any words for that. Brandon Stevens comes over, cornerback, and Andre Cisco, free safety, comes in. Those are kind of the big three. And then Josh Reynolds comes in, the wide receiver, to help that room out a little bit. They really didn't do too much this
No.
offseason of note. A few kind of, like sneaky moves here and there, but nothing crazy. Now, if you want to talk about crazy, we could talk about who they lost this offseason. It's a much longer list, starting with Aaron Rodgers. Obviously,
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers in New York experiment did not last long or go well. Um, so he's out the door. He's in Pittsburgh.
See ya.
Devontae Adams, his buddy, as you know, Connor, is out the door as well in LA. So those two are split up again. We'll see if Aaron Rodgers is requesting a trade to the Rams halfway through the season.
If Stafford
Which
goes
could be
down,
interesting.
if Stafford goes down,
Yeah,
you never know. That back injury, man.
yep, you never know with how Aaron Rodgers likes to complain. Um, Morgan Moses, we just mentioned him. He's out the door. Tyron Smith. So two pretty significant offensive linemen are out the door, which is always great when
No.
you have a guy like Justin Fields running around frantically. Hassan Reddick, he had some drama before the season last
Yeah.
year. It was in the organization, but he's gone now. Solomon Thomas out the door. DJ Reed, Brandon Eccles, two cornerbacks out the door. Javon Kinlaw and Jalen Mills. I mean, they lost so many
Everybody. Their
significant
whole
names.
their whole team's gone. No, obviously
They
not.
had,
But
yeah, I mean, a lot of guys on defense too. I
yeah.
mean, that their defense has been looked at as pretty elite. Not maybe not elite, but like very solid the past
Yeah,
couple
no,
years. And
they were seen as like top of the league, and then they just played terrible last year.
yeah,
I mean, the
and it
penalties, they were one of
really,
the most penalized teams in the league for defense. So, I mean,
yeah,
missed tackles. Sauce Gardner struggled a ton. We heard a lot about that. I mean,
right.
they had to make some changes, and I think that's what they were trying to do here. But I mean, losing this much talent, it seems like it's going to be a tall task this year.
It is going to be a tall task. But what do they have? Okay, what do they have? We move on to talk about Aaron Glenn, a guy who is the defensive coordinator for the Lions. We talked about the two Lions coordinators definitely moving teams in the offseason. This is where
Yep.
one of them ended up. I think it's a good fit. He's in year one, so we're going to have a defensive minded guy at the helm, which is perfect considering how many of their defensive players left this
Yep.
offseason. So
Oh yeah.
um, That's just great. Justin Fields, we already mentioned him, is projected to be the starter, but he did have some injury news in the preseason. I'm pretty sure. I think he'll be okay though. Nothing too severe, but he will be there. Um, we have Armand Membu
Yep.
from Missouri, their first round pick at pick 7.
He'll
So
help the
he
offensive
should,
line a lot.
yeah.
He'll
We
probably
talked
start
about
at
the
one of the tackles, I think.
Oh, he will. I mean, we talked about the two offensive linemen out the door, so he is filling a huge hole there. And the top 10 pick, you expect a lot out of him. So I will mention before we start talking about them is it wasn't all bad for the Jets in the
No.
offseason because they ended up locking up two of their guys that they've invested a lot of time in, that being Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
Garrett Wilson, the star wide
Two
receiver,
most important
Gardner,
guys on
the
that
star
team.
quarterback. 100%. So they both signed 4-year extensions this offseason. And I mean, when you talk about the Jets, it's very interesting because they have so many guys on their team who I would consider having the potential to be top 5 guys at their respective
Yeah.
positions.
Yep.
Okay. Garrett Wilson, we've seen Garrett Wilson at his best be one of the best receivers in the NFL, just talent wise. He's had he's had awful quarterback play his entire career. With the exclusion of last year, Rodgers was not horrible. I think it's a misconception that Aaron Rodgers was horrible last year because he really wasn't. He
No.
was serviceable.
He was
But
middle of the pack in a lot of stats. I mean, he really was not as bad as people made it out.
yeah, that is very true. But Garrett Wilson, he's had Zach Wilson and a bunch of other random guys as his starting quarterback. I am excited to see what he could do this year
Yeah.
with a new contract. And Sauce Gardner, I mean, a guy who had so much potential, had such a good rookie year, kind of just was really bad last year.
Yeah.
We know we
Missing every
mentioned it a
single
lot.
tackle. He could not tackle someone to save his life. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that Aaron Glenn and kind of maybe a new scheme there helps him out a little bit. So they have those two guys. They talk about a guy like Brees Hall too, another guy who is looked at as one of the elite guys, like one of the most talented running backs in the NFL.
Yep.
Sky high potential. He didn't have a great year last year either.
And now
So
there's
it was just
talks of him not even being the clear guy anymore because of that. Like he's been
yeah,
struggling in the training camp. Like, dude, you are supposed to be one of the best backs in the league. Like, come on. I
yeah,
mean,
I know.
love
I
Braylon
mean,
Allen. I think he's an incredible prospect, but like Brees Hall was you draft him to be the guy, and he was the guy in that first year. And he gets hurt,
yeah,
all that happens, and now we're
yeah.
here.
Braylon Allen is interesting for sure. Very young. I mean, I remember seeing a clip last year of Aaron Rodgers being however old Aaron Rodgers is, and then
Oh
Braylon
yeah.
Allen being like 19, and, and them being on the same team. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to make of Justin Fields in this offense. The offensive line is not going to be great. The playmakers are not going to be great. I don't think. Besides Wilson, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about Justin Fields?
Okay, so preseason week 1 plays against the Packers starting defense minus a few key guys, but still played against the Packers starting defense, drives down the field, scores a touchdown, rushing touchdown, 16-yard rushing touchdown. He beat the Packers starting defense, right? And I was like, I
Right.
was watching that game as a Packers fan. I'm like, oh, well, that's not a good sign. But but then everything else we've been hearing about camp, hearing from camp, hearing about him has been all negative. Every single
Yeah.
clip you see on X, Twitter, whatever you call it, it's him missing a 2-yard pass to Garrett Wilson. It's him missing an out route to Garrett Wilson when he's wide open. It's little things like that where the consistency just doesn't seem to be there. Now, yes, a lot of people are excited about him because he has the ability to run. And I think he's going to do it a lot. But how much is that going to be because he needs to, because he's about to get sacked? Or is it going to be because he gets cold feet or he has quick feet and he just decides to ignore the next read and decides to just get out of the pocket when he could have had a guy streaking down the field for a touchdown if you waited an extra
Right.
second? So that's going to be the problem for him. Um, is he being smart about when he's running? And I think I just don't know if he's going to be there yet. He's still a very young guy, so he still has room for improvement. I just don't know if this year is going to be the year where he finally puts it all together.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I've always been a little higher on Justin Fields than the average NFL fan. I've always thought he was a little disrespected in Chicago, and then even in Pittsburgh last year. I mean,
He
Russell
wasn't bad
Wilson
in
just
Pittsburgh.
came in. He wasn't even that bad, but Russell Wilson came in and just stole his job. And it was just an interesting scenario. I would love to see. I mean, I wouldn't love to see. I'm a Patriots fan, but I would. I would be intrigued to see Justin Fields go out and have a good year.
Yeah.
So if that happens, I'm not going to be upset. I did have the Patriots beating them twice because we own them. Um,
But
but I
anyways,
actually, yeah, regardless, I don't think it will be like worst team in the league bad. I have them. If you want to, we could jump right into the records.
yep,
I do have
yep,
them at 6-11 for this year, which might be a little optimistic, but their schedule is also on the easier side.
yep.
And I do have them taking care of some teams that they should take care of. And, you know, this is the type of team that can run into a win against a good team. I really do think that just because of the stars. There
Yeah,
are some stars in this team that can make plays and make things happen.
I see that for sure. Now, obviously, you guys can see at home, Vinny has 6-11. I'm a little lower on him. I have him at 4-13. Not the worst team in the league record wise. If you the video that I recorded will be out soon, but I just think this team is going to struggle. Justin Fields, he's going to get his rushing yards. He'll probably have like 40 yards minimum on the ground every game because that's the type of guy he is. But I just don't think the passing volume is going to be there. I don't think the running game is going to be anything special behind the offensive line. And I would hope the defense takes a step forward from last year. But I mean, we haven't seen it. We have to see it to believe it. And that's something that I think we need to live by here when we're talking about these projections. Now, you said it, easy schedule, right? But you're in the AFC East where you're going to be playing the Bills twice. You're going to be playing the Patriots twice, who we both have finishing over 500. And you're playing the Dolphins twice, who we'll get to them in a little bit, but I mean, they have all the talent in the world as well. So it's not
I
like
do.
you have an easy division to get a free win here and there. And I just think they're going to struggle to come into those easy games. And even against those tougher opponents where you say they can steal a win, I don't think they're going to have what it takes to get it done in a close game late in the fourth quarter. I don't think Justin Fields is the guy that's going to lead a 60-yard 2-minute drive to win the game. I just don't.
All right. Yeah, I definitely both not too high on them. You have them a little lower than I do, but definitely in agreement that the Jets. This is not the Jets' year.
No,
2025.
definitely not.
This is
Definitely not their year. They're gonna have to be. They're gonna have to keep waiting probably a long time
yeah.
before they're back
I
to any type of glory.
let me tell you guys. I know I've mentioned this a few times, but I was at MetLife Stadium last year for the Jets and Patriots in Week 3. It was the home opener. It was Aaron Rodgers, MetLife. Well, not his debut. We know how his debut went, but it was his first game back since the injury at MetLife. They played so good, and that environment, that atmosphere was absolutely electric. It was one of the most electric experiences, and admittedly, it was more electric than any Patriots game I've been to.
That was
The
the
fans were
punt return, right, for the touchdown at the end.
no, no, no. It was just a Thursday night game last year where the Jets just destroyed the Pats.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm thinking of like the
Um,
Aaron when
that
Aaron Rodgers
was
got hurt. So that was 2 years ago. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that was 2 years ago, but that was a great game too. But I mean, the Jets fans, like as much as I hate the Jets and all that, you guys deserve some happiness in life because you haven't had much of it. And last year, I thought really everyone there thought it was the year. I mean, I remember in my Patriots jersey walking out of the section, getting literally like booed out of the section, saying all these fans were saying, "Oh, have fun in the basement this year. Have fun in the basement." Well, look, the Jets were in the basement too.
Yeah.
The Jets were only one game better than us. So I mean, the Jets have not just they've had nothing going for them for a very long time, and unfortunately, this is not going to be any better this
No.
year. So.
No. So
Yeah,
we're gonna pivot to the third team in the AFC East, the Miami Dolphins, down there in Florida. An 8-9 record last year. A season that they probably would have liked to do a little bit better. Obviously, Tua's had his problems and there was a lot of drama with the team overall, but they finished in second place in the division. All right, not a terrible performance when you look at the overall scheme of things. Missed the playoffs, of course, only by a couple games. Mike McDaniel, still there going into year 4. It's a big year for him, contract year. But who did they add in the offseason? This was kind of something where they needed to make some sort of change. We've seen the same story with them. It's been Tua, it's been Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle for 2 years now, and it really just hasn't done the trick, right? Teams have started to figure them out. Were they going to make a move? Were they going to make a change? And they did. Okay, not on the offensive side of the ball, but on the defensive side of the ball. We're talking about a guy who you kind of spoiled it a little bit on me a little earlier, Vinny, but Minka
yeah, my
Fitzpatrick
bad.
coming over from the Steelers. He's going to solidify that safety spot, kind of made up for someone we'll get to in a little bit for someone they lost. But Nonetheless, that is a huge add for this Miami defense. Also, Darren Waller, okay, also making up for a guy they lost. They're kind of just trading pieces here. He was traded from the Giants, currently on the pup list though, so we're not too sure if he's going to be there for week 1 just yet, but hopefully by, week 4 at the latest or something, he's back and fully ready to go. Kind of came out of retirement for this. Kind of a strange ad. I feel like he was just a
Right.
nobody in the league when we heard this news, and now he's back for the Dolphins and he's doing things. So, all right, I mean that's cool, I guess, but we'll see if he has any juice left from the glory days he had back with Las Vegas. And then James Daniels, big offensive lineman, signed in free agency. He should be their starting right guard, which is good for them. And that's something that you can hope is going to help out the offensive line a little bit when you're talking about protecting Tua from his concussion problems and also just blocking for the running backs as well. Devon Achane, a very small back, currently dealing with a soft tissue injury on the lower part of his body, which that's something you definitely have to monitor, especially any of you fantasy managers. I know I just drafted him in a league, and seeing that news kind of sucks because I did take him a little early because I was high on him. But hopefully he's good to go by the start of the season. We'll get more news on that as we go. Other ads, you got guys like Zach Wilson. I mean, just backup quarterback depth for an injury-prone quarterback, and then Jack Jones, a guy that you know very well, Vinny, in his Patriot days, coming over
Sure do.
to add some secondary depth. I'm not sure if he's going to be a starter. I think he's just going to be a piece that they can plug in and have play. He does have experience on the field, obviously, but if someone gets hurt, he'll be able to slide in there and pick things up pretty quickly, I do believe. So that's who they added. Nothing crazy outside of Minka. And the offensive lineman's obviously a help no matter what team you're talking about. But talking about the losses, this is where, there might be some bigger pieces here. Starting off with Javon Holland. So you see there on the screen, added a safety in Minka, lost a safety in Javon Holland, two elite players. He left in free agency now with the New York Football Giants, a team that, we hate here on the channel, to put it bluntly. So
Sure do.
glad they got him, but I feel bad for the guy that he's got to go over there and play football. Um, Jalen Ramsey. Okay, this is another key loss for them. Elite corner. He was traded to Pittsburgh in that Minka Fitzpatrick trade. So you got a great player in return, but you're giving up one of your best defensive players. And then Jonnu Smith. So I mentioned it with Darren Waller. You got rid of Jonnu Smith, traded him to the Steelers, and then went out and got Darren Waller. So kind of an interesting thing there. I mean, Jonnu Smith last year was a guy who did absolutely everything for them. He might have been their best
Everything.
receiver. Um, uh,
It was, dude.
on the season. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It seemed like he had like 12 targets a game out of nowhere. This was a guy
Yeah.
who, I mean, he had his time with Tennessee, and he was doing his thing around the league, but then comes to Miami, and all of a sudden he's this feature tight end getting 10 targets a game, and fantasy managers absolutely loved him. I mean, you picked him up, and you saw how that worked for you. It was incredible.
Electric,
So
dude.
so that's
Yeah.
a big ad for them, or a big loss for them. But other losses, nothing too crazy. That was really it. That was actually all it was. So those are the those are the
Right.
three guys they
Right.
lost. Nothing
That's
else
it.
to talk about there. But moving into the other stuff here, Mike McDaniel, I already mentioned it. Going into year 4, he's kind of on the hot seat right now, right? This is a guy who hasn't really gotten over that hump of being right around 500 in 2 years now. And with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, you got to expect that you should be having a little more success than that. Yes, Tua
Right.
has his problems. He's gotten concussions several times now, and it's probably. Do you think he gets a concussion this year, Vinny? I'll put you on the spot. Does he get one?
I mean, I'm gonna say no because I don't wanna, like, predict it that's gonna
But
happen,
you know
like,
what I mean? Like it just seems like
it's
it's
always a
coming. It just seems like it's gonna happen
yeah,
to him because
yeah, I don't know.
we tell him to slide, and then he goes out and tries to truck 270
Yeah,
pound linebacker.
doesn't
Probably not
work.
270, but it's not going to work out too well for you. I mean, but he will
No.
be the starting quarterback. Hopefully, he can last the entire season. They did make a big move in the draft. With the 13th pick, they drafted defensive tackle Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. That'll shore up that interior defensive line, which can be big. The other storylines for this team, Tyreek Hill, the drama with him only continues. We saw the reports early in the summer talking about how Tua still hasn't forgiven him. Right, they're trying to work through that trust that they built up over the last 2 years when at the end of the season a year ago, Tyreek Hill said he was out and he was leaving. And obviously you can't say that and then stick around because it's not going to bode well for your team's confidence level in you. So we'll see what happens with him if he gets affected by that at all when it comes to targets on the field or whatnot. But and then Devon Achane, I already mentioned it. The lower body soft tissue injury is something to monitor. But with that said, Vinny, we have a long season ahead of us. Do you think this is a team that's gonna, get back to that second place in the division? Or are they gonna be a little bit worse off than they were a year ago?
So, I don't have them being worse off. I
Okay.
have them being the same, but like we mentioned, there is a team in the division that we both think is going to get significantly better.
Yep.
And the Miami Dolphins are such a strange topic in the
Yep.
NFL because they went from being so dominant on the offensive side of the ball, like unstoppable. Okay, I remember the game they put up 70 points,
Yeah. I mean, I don't
and
know. It's
that's
just
just
like
an
whoa.
example. It's it's just like whoa, and it's just like
It's just like whoa.
there's so it's just that's all you gotta say. It's like
There's no other
holy crap.
reaction.
Like you turn on NFL Red Zone, and Scott Hansen's like, oh, there's Tyreek Hill, 50 yards wide open at the end zone, touchdown. Okay, and they have so many playmakers. Okay, you have Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, who is a fantastic receiver, by the way, that has really been so underwhelming in this
I think he's been
offense lately.
underutilized. I think Tyreek Hill
It's-
takes a lot of the work away. And
But not even because last year Tyreek Hill, we talked about this in our fantasy previews. He was getting 3 catches for 17
yeah,
yards, like, almost every week. It was ridiculous, and then not to mention Devon Achane, who is just a machine, who
yeah.
did get hurt and is projected to be out the first 3 weeks of the season, I believe, is what I saw today, which is unfortunate, but, I mean, he's a machine, and then you add in Jonnu Smith, well, he's not there anymore, but another guy, like, there's just all these playmakers, and is it Tua? Is Tua the reason why they're not successful? Or is it the scheme? Or like last year was a completely it diverted completely from what we were
Yeah.
used to. There was a lot of checkdowns. There was a lot of interceptions, turnovers, just ugly, ugly
I'll
football.
say this. I
Uh,
think one of the big things is teams figured him out. You know, that first year
yeah,
with having Tyreek Hill and all these guys, they were airing it out left and right. It was big play after big play, and they were hitting on basically every single one. So I think defenses going into that offseason the next year, they said, okay, wait a minute. If that's all they can do, let's just sit back, take that away, and make them throw underneath. And then the Dolphins didn't know how to do it. They couldn't figure it out.
yeah,
So
yeah. And they didn't do much in the offseason, but they did make the big trade with
yeah,
Pittsburgh. And in my opinion, they lost. I
I
think they
agree.
lost that trade
I agree.
because if you look at their team, I would take Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith over Minka and Darren Waller.
Yeah,
That's just how I would look at it. I
100%.
think Minka might have the edge on Jalen Ramsey now in their point in their careers, but they're very close. They're elite. They're both elite
Yeah,
players
still
still.
gonna be playing at a high
But
level.
I mean, it was just a very confusing trade from the Dolphins' perspective. Good for Pittsburgh though. I mean, Pittsburgh definitely got a little bit better with that.
Yep.
Just more depth, but yeah, the Dolphins are confusing. They really didn't get any better or worse for me. I don't know if if they're going to be able to return to their potential, and in which case they should be better than what we have them at.
Yeah.
But there's no reason to think that they will. So
So, yeah, I mean, I have them at 7 and 10 this year. I think they're gonna struggle down the stretch. I mean, I didn't know if you just said Achane's out the first 3 weeks guaranteed. I mean, I haven't seen that yet, so that's obviously huge news, right? That affects
it is
this a lot, right? 7 and 10, that might be optimistic with that news. Okay, they might be down at 6 and 11 or 5 and 12 without Achane the first 3 weeks. I mean, Jalen Wright, sure, he's there, right? But he struggled through the preseason, through training
sure
camp.
is.
Maybe it's Ollie Gordon. Okay, he's had a very good
Ooh,
preseason so far. You know that name, yep. Uh,
now we're talking.
Now we're talking about some guys here, but you got to look at so outside of the AFC East, their toughest matchups. Week 9, they host the Ravens. Okay, that's gonna be a tough one. Week 11, they're playing against the Commanders in Madrid, which that'll be a fun game to watch. Honestly, seeing that game in Spain.
Definitely
Uh,
fun. Yeah,
Week 15, they're at Pittsburgh, so a very solid, elite, or better than solid, elite defense over there in Pittsburgh. And then Week
yeah,
16, they're hosting Cincinnati. So the Bengals are coming into town. That's going to be who can score more in that game. So
yeah.
not easy games outside of the division here, and if you start slipping up, their season's gonna get away from them really quick. I don't think they're gonna be in playoff contention. I know you have that, like you said, you had them staying the exact same 8 and 9. Um, I just don't think that's gonna be enough this year. Even if they're 9 and 8, I'm not sure if that's gonna be. I mean, we had the Patriots at 9 and 8, and they were just outside the playoffs. So
Right.
Dolphins are at that rate, 2 games out. And that's being optimistic with because this is before we knew the HN news. So they're probably a couple games below what we have as them projected out to be right now. So it's gonna be interesting to monitor. Hopefully HN can get back a week or two earlier. For my fantasy
Yeah.
purposes as well. And there's
Right.
probably a lot of fantasy managers out there that you had your fantasy drafts last week or this week thinking you
Yeah.
were doing it late enough to avoid anything like this, and then boom, HN. If that's the
Yep.
case, he's out 3 weeks. So that would suck. Um, But yeah, I mean, I have them at 7-10, Vinny. We're very close here, 8-9, 7-10, keeping the
Yep.
trend of our projections being pretty accurate, or pretty
Yeah.
similar to each
Well,
other's. And well, yeah,
accurate, we'll
I
see,
know, I
but
know. We'll have to see
similar,
about that, but they're very similar, so
yeah,
we keep tabs with that. But
for sure.
you got anything else to add about this Dolphins team before we move on?
No, I hate the Dolphins actually, so I just
Oh,
let's move on as quick as possible.
okay. Well, with that said, we are going to move on to the team playing in Buffalo. Okay, the team that has kind of dominated this division over the last couple of years after the Patriots' reign over this division, as you remember very vividly. But the Buffalo
Sure do.
Bills, 13-4 last year, first place in the AFC East, second in the AFC overall, lost 32-29 to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship. It seems like that is the team they just can't figure out. They can't seem to get past them, even when the Chiefs are supposedly having a down year. Chiefs not up to the usual standards we've expected from them the last couple of seasons, and yet they still made it all the way to the Super Bowl. So they might just be that good. The Bills might just need to add a few more pieces. We'll have to see. But what did the Bills do in the offseason? That's the question here. So going over to this Buffalo Bills team, they add Joey Bosa, okay? They try to bolster that defense a little bit, add to the pass rush. He's getting up there in age. I mean, he's been up there in age for a couple years now, but hopefully they're hoping he's still got some juice left. A guy like Joshua Palmer just adding to that receiving core. There's no standout guy. I know they paid Khalil Shakir, Vinny, you love him. And I think he is very good, but he's not like that flashy guy who's going to go out there and be a true
No.
alpha receiver. He's more of like a honestly, he's more like a Julian Edelman type where he's going to be there.
I was just
Yes,
thinking
I
that. I
knew.
was
I
just
know.
thinking
I
that.
know.
I I was just about to make that comp. I was gonna say, is that crazy to say? I don't think so.
I
It's
don't
it's
think
the
it
same
is.
same vibe.
And I'm
Yeah, same vibe.
obviously I'm not saying it's at the exact same level. Edelman was absolutely incredible at it, but Khalil Shakir has been very, very solid, very reliable at doing that type of thing, just getting open short. And then they also signed defensive tackle Larry Ogunjobi in free agency, but he's starting the year with a 6-game suspension. So kind of a strange thing there. That's not going to be too ideal for them. But then other ads, they also added a defensive end, Michael Hocht. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but he also is set to serve a 6-game suspension. So two
Wow.
of their defensive ads are facing 6-game suspensions for violating, I think, the drug policy. Um,
Wow.
which maybe the Bills are just into those types of players, but hopefully they did enough to give
I don't know.
themselves an edge that can hold them over for 6 weeks. But we'll have to see if those guys come in and make any sort of difference when they return. Um, but then when you're talking about key losses, right, really wasn't anything crazy. Okay, they did lose Von Miller. Okay, that's kind of why they got Joey Bosa. They got rid of one old guy and added a new one. Not really sure if that's going to make much of a difference. I feel like they're going to be similar type of players here at the end of their careers, but it is what it is. Also Rasul Douglas, he's still currently a free agent. Okay, that's what I was kind of hoping the Packers would take a look at him after losing Jair Alexander, bring him back to Green Bay, but hasn't been the case just yet. We'll see where he goes. And then Amari Cooper also still currently a free agent. So guys that, were on the team, contributed a little bit last year, now just kind of chilling out there in no man's land. But outside that, the only
Yep.
other real loss was Matt Collins, only notable for
Oh,
his pregame outfits and not wearing shoes to
big
any of the
deal.
games, which was
Right.
very popular. I mean, it was basically a trend. Like it was all every single week. That's what people were posting on social media was whatever he was going to wear to the games. And I think it became sort of a bit of like a joke at the end where he was just wearing the craziest things he could think of. Even in the cold weather games and late in the season playoffs, he was wearing no shoes, walking in with like nothing on. And we're like, what is going on? What is Matt Collins doing? Never really had it on the field, but off the field, he was one of the big entertainers there. So I guess you got to give him some credit there.
He he's gonna enjoy that New England dirt, that New England soil, let me tell
Yeah,
you. Right.
the Toes are gonna love it, but uh,
Okay.
we're, we're
Alright.
gonna we're gonna stop talking about that now. Other notes: the Bills did re-sign corner Tre'Davious White, big player there, and then Josh Allen signed a 6-year, $330 million deal, and Khalil Shakir signed a 4-year, $60 million deal. Those are kind of the two guys that you want to re-sign on this offense if it's going to be anyone. And then James Cook, of course, he recently got paid as well. He got a very hefty contract. 4 years, 4 years, $48 million.
48.
$48
Yep.
million. I mean, he's one of the highest paid backs in the league if you break it down by guaranteed money. So
Yeah.
I personally, I wouldn't give him that kind of bag. Okay, he had a ton of touchdowns last year. He was absolutely incredible. But I don't think that that number is going to be repeated in 2025. So I don't know if I would have paid him that much. Benny, what about you? I know you liked him last year
Um,
because you had him in
Well,
fantasy.
I had him on the team. Yeah, I mean, that's just a product of like the market value being set higher and higher every year. I mean, we see it in all sports. There's always a new highest contract. It just whoever happens to be getting it at the time. James Cook is a really good player. But people are saying that Ray Davis is on the horizon. So, um,
He's got all the talent
maybe
in the world. I'll tell you, he's got a
yeah,
ton of talent. I mean, if James Cook has a couple bad weeks, gets hurt, it could be Ray
maybe
Davis's show, man. But the thing is, after paying him that kind of money, you can't just say, okay, Ray Davis, take over. Like you can't.
yeah. See, here's the problem. I don't like paying that much for a running back when the quarterback is the
Gonna run as
star
much as he
on it
does.
on the ground. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, I agree,
Like,
100%.
unless you're Derrick Henry with Lamar Jackson, that's a different story. Um,
Saquon Barkley with
but
Jalen Hurts. The
yeah,
list
okay,
goes on and
all right,
on.
all
But
right, all right, all right, all right. James Cook is not Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley,
I
is what
agree.
I'm
I
trying to.
agree. Thank you. Yes.
Um,
Okay.
but the Buffalo Bills. Okay, here's the thing. They didn't do much in the offseason. They didn't have to. They're one of the best teams in the league, right? We don't even have to talk about the regular season. We don't have to talk. I'm just gonna jump right into it. We both have them at 14-3.
Yep.
Okay.
They're going to be a playoff team. They're going to be a playoff team. That's just it. It's just a fact of the matter.
I I have them as the one seed in the AFC. I don't know about you.
I think I have them as the one seed as well. Yes.
They've actually never been the one seed. They've never had home field the whole playoffs. Um,
Well, this year, man, it's gonna happen.
we both think this is the year, but listen, throw the regular season off the window. They're going to be great. Josh Allen had his best year of all time last year. Limited the turnovers. That was the only concern with Josh Allen in his career,
I'll
is he
say
turns
this
the ball
though.
over way too
I'll
much.
say this though. He threw for under 4,000 yards for the first time in 5 years.
That's fine.
Well, I know.
I care about the turnovers more.
Trust me, I agree. But I'm just saying, they made up for it in other ways, and I think part of that is also because, Stephon Diggs was gone, who you're gonna throw
Right.
4,000 yards to. So I understand
Right.
that, but I think it's important to note that he wasn't as I wouldn't say efficient, but he was very efficient because of the turnover ratio, but
Right.
he wasn't throwing the ball for as many yards as we've seen in the past. But it worked out for him.
Yeah.
Clearly, they still made it very far.
Exactly, and that results in the fewer turnovers. He's being smarter with the football, and
Yep.
obviously he does a lot on the ground too. But the point I'm trying to make is the only thing I care about with the Buffalo Bills going into this year is, can they beat the Chiefs in the playoffs?
That's
That's
the
it.
question. That's the biggest question they've always had is can they do it? And
Because
Sean McDermott, he's tried several times with this Bills team, and they've struggled. They've suffered every single time. They just can't get over that hump.
I mean, it's demoralizing because this team is so dominant for the
Yeah.
past 5 years in the regular season. So dominant, so good. And then they make it to the playoffs. I mean, they beat the Ravens in the playoffs in a fantastic game.
Yep.
And those are two of the best teams in the AFC. And you're going in, oh, here we go. The Chiefs again. Can they beat the Chiefs? They have all the talent in the world to beat the Chiefs. They've done it in the regular season multiple times in this era with
Yep.
these players. And they can't do it. If the Bills can't, like, all this stuff about the regular season and Josh Allen goes out the window if they can't beat the Chiefs in the playoffs.
No.
And we'll
And like
talk
I
about the
said,
Chiefs, but
and
I
like
don't
I
know.
said, Vinny, last year was supposed to be the down year for the Chiefs. That was supposed to be the year that someone really had a
Yeah,
chance to take, the AFC title from them, and they couldn't do it.
right.
Now, I mean, we'll talk about them in another episode, but I think the Chiefs are going to be better than they were last year, which means the Bills are
I
right back
agree.
to square one, trying to figure
I
out
agree.
how are they going to beat an elite football team. And I don't know if I have the answer for that yet.
But here's the question. Here's the question I ask you. The Bills have never hosted, or have they? Have they hosted the Chiefs in the playoffs before? Oh, maybe they did,
They I,
because
they
the
m-
Chiefs
they
were the
must have.
three
They
seed
must
2
have.
years ago.
They must have.
Oh my gosh. I see. I was about to say, I find it hard to believe that the Bills will lose at home because it's just such a great home field advantage. This is the final year of
I
of
know.
their old stadium.
What a
Like,
story that would be.
they love that place. These fans. It's a dumpster. It's a dumpster, bro. I've heard it's awful, but they love it, man. That's what Bills Mafia is all about. They love that life, dude. They love it. If the Bills are the one seed and they're hosting the Chiefs on a 7 o'clock primetime game and championship weekend
At Highmark
at night,
Stadium,
bro, do the
snow
Bills
falling.
lose? Can the Bills lose that game? I think
Yes.
I don't
I
know.
think
They
they
totally
can.
can
They totally
'cause the
can.
Chiefs are
And
ridiculous.
but last thing here, going back to players, the draft obviously a big part of every offseason for teams. They went out and got their guy in the first round with the 30th pick, cornerback Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky. He should be on the field right at the start of the season. He's been having a good camp.
Yeah,
So that's good news for them. Adds to that, already elite defense and hopefully makes them even better. Maybe he's the missing piece, right? Obviously you need more than
maybe.
just one player, but uh, you know, he's gonna help out for sure. And I mean 14-3 is we have a lot of expectations for this team. So 14-3 is not something to take lightly. We are saying this team is going to be a true powerhouse. This is my best record in the NFL.
Yeah, me too.
So
I'm almost positive about that.
so
Maybe tied.
that should tell you all you need to know. Okay, we are very high on this team. I think they have all the ability in the world. Well, like you said, Vinny, it's going to come down to the same thing it's come down to the last 5 years.
Yeah,
Can they beat the Chiefs? I don't know.
doesn't matter if you can't do that. Um, but yeah, I think that's gonna wrap up the Bills unless you have anything else to say.
No, man. I mean, that's really it. I mean, okay, they also have a pretty tough non-divisional schedule, but I just think the Bills are that
Yeah,
good. They host Baltimore, host Kansas City, host Cincinnati, and host Philadelphia. So
yeah,
right there, those are probably four. I mean, I have all four of those teams in the playoffs. So I'll give a little
right.
spoiler if you guys can remember that quick
Ooh,
enough. But
ankles.
I have the Bengals in the playoffs.
Oh, okay. I also do. Um,
Okay.
but I won't act shocked. But yeah, I mean, being as good as you are, that means you're gonna play the best teams. That's
And
just
I
how it
mean,
works.
the key word there, they're hosting all four of those games. They're
Right,
at home at the
right.
stadium that you
Yeah,
just mentioned. Those fans love. They'll die for it. So
yeah. They're
you have
so good at home. They're
if
so
they
good at
lose
home.
these games, then you got to be concerned because now playoffs come, you're gonna have to go on the road to these teams,
Yeah.
and it gets even harder. So we'll
I
see.
to wrap up this episode, I will go out and I will say this, and it pains me to say this as a Patriots fan, but the Buffalo Bills have the best fan base in the NFL. I truly believe that. They have the most passionate fan base, more than Kansas City, more than Seattle, more than Pittsburgh, more than all those teams, more than Green Bay. Sorry, Connor.
Yep.
That all the like I don't think there's a home atmosphere more intimidating than the Bills right
No,
now.
no,
I
I
really
agree.
don't.
I agree. I
So,
mean, you go in and
uh,
it's, I mean, some similar to Lambeau. It's freezing, but like the fans
right.
outside the stadium, there's nothing like them.
But like Lambeau fans are like they're like chill though. Like
They're
Packers fans are
chill.
like chill and
It's just
nice.
awesome being in there. But like Buffalo,
Right.
you go there and it is
You hate
like
your life.
yeah, if you're not a Bills fan, you do not want to be there.
Right.
On
No.
a 20 to like 10 degrees, it's snowing. Their whole fan base has beards that are covered in ice.
Yeah, like I'll go to Lambeau Field in my Patriots jersey any day of the week. I would never step foot in Buffalo with a Patriots jersey ever.
Well,
Um
okay. Well, you're talking about division rivals.
no, I understand. No, take the divisions out of it. Like assume all 32 teams are in the same division. Like
All right.
I'm saying as an opposing fan. That's what I
What about
meant to
as a
say.
Vikings fan?
Not Patriots
What
specifically.
about
Just
as a
and
Bears fan?
a Bears well, I mean, I'm sure Packers fans wouldn't be the nicest, but they would definitely be nicer than a Bills fan would be to a Patriots fan.
All right, I agree. All right, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So, um, anyway, man, I think that's gonna wrap us up here
Yep,
for the AFC East. Very intriguing division. I think it will be.
yep.
I mean, there's a lot of storylines going on here for all four teams. There's going to be a lot of exciting stuff. So, that is going to wrap up part one of a 8-part series previewing every single team in the NFL. So stay tuned for the other 7. We're going to be actually jumping right into the NFC East. So that's going to be coming out kind of similar time frame to this one. So if you guys have any thoughts, please leave them down below. Any thoughts on our record predictions or anything else? And I think Connor, unless you have anything else to say, I think that's going to wrap it up.
No, man. Make sure you're followed on Spotify. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Just give
Yes.
us all the help you can. We're trying to get this stuff out and improve every single time we record. We appreciate all the love that we get from you guys. But yeah, man, I mean, stick around, stay tuned for the rest of the episodes as they come out.
All right. Yeah. NFC East is on deck, and we'll see you next time.